Not every avoidant who keeps you at arm's length is struggling with genuine fear. Some have learned to weaponize your attachment, using your patience and understanding as tools for their own convenience while offering nothing meaningful in return. While it's easy to make excuses for someone's emotional unavailability by labeling it as trauma or attachment issues, there's a crucial difference between someone who's genuinely scared of intimacy and someone who's deliberately exploiting your willingness to accept crumbs. The harsh truth is that some people hide behind the avoidant label to justify selfish, manipulative behavior that serves their needs while keeping you emotionally starved and psychologically off balance. They've learned that certain people will tolerate incredible amounts of inconsistency, disrespect, and emotional neglect if it's packaged as fear of commitment or needing space to heal. These users have mastered the art of giving you just enough attention to keep you hooked while providing so little genuine connection that you're essentially functioning as their emotional convenience store, always open when they need something, never requiring them to invest anything meaningful in return. They understand your attachment style well enough to manipulate it, keeping you in a state of perpetual hope while never intending to deliver on the relationship you're waiting for. The difference between a genuinely fearful avoidant and someone who's using you lies not in their words or promises, but in their patterns of behavior over time. A scared avoidant struggles with consistency, but still shows genuine care for your well-being. A user shows up only when it benefits them and disappears when you need them most, treating your emotions as irrelevant except when they can be leveraged for their advantage. Recognizing these brutal signs isn't about becoming cynical or giving up on people with attachment issues. It's about protecting yourself from those who exploit your compassion while offering nothing real in return. Your kindness, patience, and understanding are valuable resources that deserve to be invested in someone who appreciates them, not someone who uses them as tools for their own selfish agenda. Red flag number 1, they only show up when they need something. The clearest indicator that an avoidant is using you rather than genuinely struggling with intimacy is their pattern of contact. They reach out when they need emotional support, physical comfort, practical help, or ego validation, but they're mysteriously unavailable when you need anything from them. This isn't the inconsistency of someone learning to love. It's the calculated behavior of someone who views you as a resource to be accessed rather than a person to be cherished. Watch the timing of their contact attempts. They text you when they're lonely late at night, call when they've had a bad day at work, or suddenly want to see you when their other plans fall through. But when you're dealing with your own challenges, celebrating your successes, or simply wanting to connect during your good moments, they're nowhere to be found. This pattern reveals someone who sees your relationship as existing solely for their benefit, rather than mutual support and connection. Their communication style during these need-based contacts is particularly telling. They dive straight into their problems without asking about your life, share their struggles without showing interest in yours, and expect emotional labor from you without offering any in return. After you've provided the support they were seeking, they disappear again until the next crisis or moment of need, treating you like an on-call therapist rather than a romantic partner. The user disguises their selfishness as vulnerability, making their requests for help seem like moments of openness rather than extraction. They'll frame their neediness as finally letting you in or trusting you with their struggles, when really they're just using your caring nature to get free emotional support while maintaining zero obligation to reciprocate when you're the one who needs care. Notice how they respond when you need them. When you're going through difficult times, facing challenges, or simply want someone to talk to, they become suddenly busy, emotionally unavailable, or outright dismissive of your needs. They might offer token sympathy through brief texts, but never show up with the same energy you provide when they're struggling. This disparity reveals their true priorities and the one-sided nature of your dynamic. They are particularly skilled at timing their disappearances to coincide with your moments of need. Just when you're facing a challenging situation that would require them to show up emotionally, they become overwhelmed by their own issues, suddenly need space, or create drama that makes it impossible for you to ask for support. This isn't coincidence, it's strategic avoidance of reciprocal responsibility. The user also employs what relationship experts call emotional hit-and-run tactics. They'll reach out when they need validation or comfort, allow you to invest emotional energy in supporting them, then disappear without warning once they feel better. They get what they need from the interaction and exit before any expectation of mutual care or ongoing connection can be established. Their neediness often intensifies when they sense you pulling away or becoming less available. If you start setting boundaries around their one-sided contact patterns, they escalate their crisis communications, manufacture emergencies, or suddenly become more emotionally vulnerable to pull you back into the caretaking role. This manipulation tactic reveals that they're conscious of their using behavior and willing to exploit your compassion to maintain it. They never remember or follow up on the support you provide them. After pouring your energy into helping them through a crisis, they don't check back to update you on how things turned out, thank you for your help, or show any appreciation for your investment in their well-being. This lack of gratitude or acknowledgement reveals that they view your support as something they're entitled to rather than something you choose to give. The most brutal aspect of this pattern is how they train you to associate your value in the relationship with your usefulness to them. You begin to feel like the only way to maintain their interest is to be available whenever they need something, creating a dynamic where your worth becomes tied to your willingness to serve their needs while accepting nothing in return. This conditioning is deliberate manipulation designed to keep you accessible while minimizing their own obligations. Red flag number 2, they keep you in emotional limbo to maintain control. The user avoidant has mastered the art of keeping you psychologically suspended between hope and despair, never giving you enough clarity to make informed decisions about the relationship while ensuring you remain emotionally invested enough to stay available for their convenience. This emotional limbo serves their purposes perfectly. You can't move on because they keep the possibility of commitment alive. But you can't have security because they never actually commit to anything real. Their communication is deliberately ambiguous, filled with mixed messages that can be interpreted multiple ways depending on what serves them in the moment. They'll say things like, "I'm not ready for a relationship right now," while acting couple-like when it's convenient, or claim they need time to figure things out, while making no visible effort toward clarity or growth. This strategic vagueness keeps you guessing, while giving them maximum flexibility to behave however they want. They're experts at giving you just enough hope to prevent you from walking away while never giving you enough certainty to feel secure. They'll have perfect dates that make you think you're making progress, followed by weeks of distance that make you question everything. They'll make future plans they don't intend to keep, express feelings they don't plan to act on, and create moments of intimacy they immediately undermine with withdrawal. The limbo they create is particularly evident in how they handle relationship conversations. When you try to discuss where things are going or what you mean to each other, they become masters of deflection, claiming they're bad with words, need more time, or don't want to rush things. But notice they never set actual timelines for clarity, never take concrete steps toward resolution, and never show genuine urgency about addressing your legitimate need for understanding. They use your attachment style against you by understanding exactly how much uncertainty you can tolerate before reaching your breaking point, then calibrating their behavior to keep you right at that threshold. They know how to throw you just enough breadcrumbs to reactivate your hope when you're about to give up, and they know how to create just enough distance to maintain control when you start expecting too much consistency. Their breadcrumb campaigns are particularly insidious because they're designed to keep you emotionally invested while requiring minimal effort from them. A late-night text saying they miss you, a casual invitation to hang out, or a moment of unexpected affection serves to reset your patience clock and buy them more time in limbo without having to make any real commitments or changes to their behavior. They often create artificial urgency around their own timeline while showing no respect for yours. They'll claim they need space to figure things out, but never specify what they're figuring out or when they expect to have answers. Meanwhile, they expect you to remain available and understanding indefinitely while they take all the time they want to make decisions that affect both of your lives. The user particularly enjoys the power dynamic that emotional limbo creates. They get to feel wanted and pursued, while maintaining complete control over the relationship's pace and direction. You're doing all the emotional labor of hoping, waiting, and adjusting your expectations, while they get to float through the dynamic without having to reciprocate your investment or match your vulnerability. They sabotage any attempts you make to create clarity or boundaries around the limbo situation. If you try to set deadlines for decision-making or ultimatums about commitment, they frame you as impatient, demanding, or not understanding enough of their process. They make your reasonable need for certainty seem unreasonable, turning your legitimate relationship needs into character flaws. Their manipulation includes using your own words and needs against you. If you've expressed understanding about their fear of commitment, they'll reference that understanding to justify indefinite delays. If you've shown patience with their process, they'll use that patience to extend their timeline without end. They weaponize your compassion to avoid accountability for keeping you in an unsustainable situation. The most brutal aspect of this limbo is how it prevents you from making authentic choices about your own life. You can't fully move on because they keep hope alive, but you can't fully invest because they won't commit to anything real. This suspended state serves their needs perfectly, while slowly eroding your sense of self-worth and your ability to recognize what healthy relationships actually look like. Red flag number 3, they compartmentalize you away from their real life. The user avoidant treats you like a secret they're ashamed of rather than a person they're proud to know, systematically excluding you from every meaningful aspect of their life while expecting full access to yours. This compartmentalization isn't about taking things slow or protecting their privacy. It's about maintaining complete control over how much of themselves they have to invest, while keeping you isolated from any evidence of their real priorities, values, and commitments. You'll notice they never integrate you into their social circle, family relationships, or important life events. While they might meet your friends and attend your family gatherings when it's convenient, they consistently have excuses for why you can't meet their important people or participate in their significant occasions. They keep their work life separate, their family relationships private, and their friendships completely divorced from your connection, creating a situation where you only see carefully curated versions of who they are. Their compartmentalization extends to their living space and personal environment. You might spend time at your place regularly, but their home remains off limits, or you're only allowed there under specific circumstances. They don't want you to see how they really live, what their daily routines actually look like, or any evidence of other relationships they might be maintaining. This separation prevents you from getting a complete picture of their life and keeps you from understanding your actual place in it. Watch how they handle social media and public displays of your connection. While they might engage with your posts occasionally, they never share photos with you, mention you in their updates, or acknowledge your relationship publicly in any way. You exist in a digital vacuum where their online presence gives no indication that you're part of their life, while they expect to be included and acknowledged in your public presence. The user creates different personas for different areas of their life, and you only get access to the version of themselves that serves their needs in your specific compartment. You might know the romantic, charming version they present during dates, but you have no idea how they treat their family, interact with friends, or behave in professional settings. This fragmentation prevents you from seeing their character consistently across different contexts. They make unilateral decisions about major life changes without consulting you or considering how those changes might affect your relationship. They'll take new jobs, move to different areas, or make significant commitments to other people or activities without discussing these decisions with you, demonstrating that you're not considered a stakeholder in their life planning despite the emotional energy you've invested in them. Their compartmentalization includes financial and practical aspects of their life. You never get insight into their financial situation, their living arrangements, their family obligations, or their long-term goals. This information stays locked away while they expect transparency from you about your life circumstances, creating an imbalanced dynamic where intimacy flows only in one direction. The most telling aspect of their compartmentalization is how they react when you try to integrate more naturally into their life or ask questions about areas they keep private. They become defensive, evasive, or accusatory about your pushiness or invasiveness, making your natural desire for deeper connection seem unreasonable. They frame your interest in their whole life as demanding rather than caring. They often maintain this compartmentalization through elaborate scheduling and logistical management that ensures different areas of their life never overlap. They'll cancel plans with you if friends unexpectedly want to hang out, postpone your time together if family obligations arise, or suddenly become unavailable during periods when their other relationships require attention. You're always the flexible option, never the priority. Their communication patterns reveal the compartmentalization clearly. They'll talk about their work, family, or friend situations in vague terms that give you no real understanding of their daily life, their challenges, or their joys outside of your limited interactions. They share surface-level information while keeping all the meaningful details private, preventing you from truly knowing who they are as a complete person. The user leverages this compartmentalization to maintain multiple relationships or options without any of them having complete information about the others. By keeping you separated from their real life, they can present different versions of their availability, commitment level, and relationship status to different people without being caught in contradictions or having to make exclusive choices. Red flag number 4. They gaslight your reality when you call out their behavior. When you finally recognize their patterns and attempt to address their using behavior directly, the manipulative avoidant deploys sophisticated gaslighting techniques designed to make you question your own perceptions, minimize your legitimate concerns, and avoid taking any accountability for their actions. This isn't the defensive reaction of someone who's genuinely confused about their impact. It's the calculated response of someone who knows exactly what they're doing and refuses to be held accountable for it. They immediately flip the script when confronted with evidence of their using behavior, making you the problem instead of addressing their actions. Your reasonable concerns about their inconsistency become evidence of your neediness. Your valid observations about their selfishness become proof of your insecurity. Your legitimate requests for reciprocity become examples of your demanding nature. They've learned to pathologize your healthy relationship needs to avoid examining their own toxic behavior. Their gaslighting includes rewriting the history of your interactions to make their behavior seem more reasonable and your reactions seem more extreme. They'll claim they were always clear about their limitations when they actually sent mixed messages. They'll insist they never promised anything when they created expectations through their words and actions. They'll minimize their hurtful behavior while exaggerating your emotional responses, creating a false narrative where you're overreacting to normal relationship challenges. The manipulative avoidant uses psychological terminology against you, weaponizing therapy speak and attachment language to justify their behavior while pathologizing yours. They'll claim they're just protecting their boundaries when they're actually being selfish, or say they're working on their attachment issues when they're making no genuine effort to change. Meanwhile, they'll label your normal relationship needs as codependent or anxious attachment to make you feel ashamed for wanting basic consideration. They employ a particularly insidious form of gaslighting, where they acknowledge their behavior while simultaneously justifying it and blaming you for your reaction to it. They might say something like, "Yes, I've been distant, but you knew I had commitment issues," or "I told you I wasn't ready for a relationship, so I don't understand why you're upset." This technique makes you feel crazy for having normal emotional responses to their harmful actions. Their gaslighting extends to denying conversations, agreements, or commitments they've made when those become inconvenient for them. They'll claim they never said things you clearly remember, insist you misunderstood communications that were perfectly clear, or pretend they don't remember making plans or promises they now want to avoid. This systematic denial of shared reality makes you question your own memory and perception. When direct gaslighting doesn't work, they escalate to more aggressive tactics designed to make you stop questioning their behavior entirely. They might accuse you of being crazy, obsessive, or unable to let things go when you persist in addressing their patterns. They'll make your need for accountability seem pathological, turning your healthy attempt to address problems into evidence of your supposed instability. They're particularly skilled at timing their gaslighting to coincide with your most vulnerable moments. When you're already feeling hurt or confused by their behavior, they'll add layers of self-doubt by questioning your interpretation of events, your emotional reactions, or your right to expect better treatment. This kicks you when you're down, making it harder to maintain clarity about what's actually happening. The user employs what psychologists call DARVO: deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. They deny their harmful behavior, attack you for bringing it up, then position themselves as the victim of your unreasonable expectations or dramatic reactions. Suddenly, they're the one being hurt by your attempts to address their mistreatment, and you're the perpetrator for having standards or boundaries. Their gaslighting includes enlisting others to validate their version of reality, particularly if they can find people who don't have complete information about the situation. They might complain to mutual friends about your neediness or drama, presenting themselves as the reasonable party dealing with an unreasonable person. This social manipulation adds external pressure to doubt your own perceptions. The most damaging aspect of their gaslighting is how it trains you to stop trusting your own instincts and observations. Over time, you begin to second-guess every concern, minimize every red flag, and question every boundary you want to set. This erosion of self-trust makes you more susceptible to continued manipulation and less likely to advocate for your own needs effectively. They use your own words and previous understanding against you in their gaslighting campaigns. If you've ever expressed empathy for their struggles or made allowances for their limitations, they'll reference those statements to justify current bad behavior. They'll say things like, "You said you understood my issues," or "You told me you were patient," to make your current boundaries seem hypocritical or unreasonable. When all else fails, they resort to emotional manipulation disguised as vulnerability. They'll claim your confrontation about their behavior is triggering their trauma, hurting their healing process, or making them feel unsafe to be honest about their struggles. This weaponization of therapeutic language is designed to make you feel guilty for holding them accountable and to position your legitimate concerns as attacks on their mental health. The moment you recognize these brutal signs is the moment you reclaim your power from someone who's been systematically exploiting your capacity for love, patience, and understanding. You are not an emotional insurance policy that exists to provide comfort, validation, and support on demand while receiving nothing meaningful in return. Your heart, your time, and your energy are precious resources that deserve to be invested in someone who values them rather than someone who uses them. Stop making excuses for behavior that wouldn't be acceptable from anyone else in your life. Stop convincing yourself that their using patterns are really just fear or trauma responses. Stop accepting breadcrumbs while giving banquets. The person who truly cares about you doesn't compartmentalize you away from their real life, only show up when they need something, keep you in emotional limbo for their convenience, or gaslight you when you call out their selfishness. You deserve someone who sees you as a treasure to be cherished, not a resource to be exploited. You deserve consistency, reciprocity, integration into their actual life, and respect for your reality and needs. Walking away from someone who's using you isn't giving up on love. It's making space for the kind of love that doesn't require you to shrink, accept crumbs, or question your own worth. Choose yourself. You're worth so much more than being someone's convenient option.